Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We are diving into some pretty interesting stuff today. Creativity and learning.
Oh, yeah.
It's something everyone always says is important, right?
You're right.
But what's really happening in classrooms these days,
Hmm.
and, how does AI fit into all of this?
Yeah, good questions.
So we've got a couple sources today to help us explore all of this. A Gallup research report called Creativity and Learning.
Okay.
And then also District 214's guidelines on AI for staff and students.
Fascinating combination.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm really curious.
To see what we find out.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the World Economic Forum.
Right.
And others, they keep saying creativity is like the essential skill
Right.
for the future workforce.
Absolutely.
But what really stood out to me in this Gallup report
Hmm.
is how aligned parents and teachers are.
Oh, interesting.
They're both prioritizing those, cognitive skills,
Wow.
like creative problem solving.
Yeah. Even over things like test scores or college prep.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think what it reflects is a shift in how we view success. It's not just about absorbing facts anymore.
Okay.
It's about being able to use that knowledge
Mm-hmm.
in new ways,
Right.
in novel ways. And we're seeing this play out
Yeah.
in a lot of different fields. You think about something like bioengineering,
Mm.
where creativity is super important for designing personalized medicine,
Yeah.
or in sustainable energy,
Right.
where we need creative solutions for combating climate change.
Yeah. That makes the disconnect with standardized testing even more weird.
Right.
The report says almost no one sees those tests as a good way to measure actual learning. Like, if everyone agrees they're not that useful,
Yeah.
why are they still such a big deal?
Right.
It kind of feels like we're trapped in this system
Yeah.
that doesn't match what we care about.
It really raises a good question about the point of assessment. Are we measuring the stuff that matters, or
All right.
are we just kind of keeping a system going that prioritizes memorization
Yeah,
over actual understanding?
right.
And this tension between what we say we want
Uh-huh.
and what's actually going on
Yeah.
is something that the Gallup report highlights
Yeah.
when they look at what happens in classrooms.
It's like everyone's talking about creativity,
Right.
but then students are still spending most of their time on memorization
Yeah.
and those, traditional exercises. It's like there's this gap
Yeah, there is a gap for sure.
between, saying creativity is important and actually making it happen.
So what the report is really calling for
Yeah.
is a more what they call transformative use of technology.
Okay.
So it's not just about replacing the old tools with new ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's about thinking, how can technology actually change?
Right.
Like fundamentally change how we learn.
Yeah.
Imagine students using AI to like analyze historical data and then creating interactive simulations
Wow.
to explore, different sides of a historical event.
That's amazing.
That's very different
Yeah.
from just, reading a textbook.
That's such a good point. It's not about the tech itself. It's about how we use it.
Exactly.
And they actually give some really cool examples in the report of what this can look like.
Like what?
Like students designing rocket cones with 3D modeling software.
Wow.
Or like exploring a virtual Buddhist temple
Oh, wow.
to get like a really immersive cultural experience.
That's amazing.
That's stuff you just can't do with a textbook.
Those are great examples
Yeah.
of how technology can really be a catalyst for creativity
Yeah.
and deeper engagement.
Totally.
But obviously there are challenges, right?
Yes.
The report talks about access to technology,
Uh-huh.
the need for, better teacher training,
Right.
and like how do you actually measure something
Right.
as complex as creativity? It's
Yeah.
not a simple fix.
And that's where I thought District 214's AI guidelines were so interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
They're already thinking about how to use AI
Okay.
ethically and effectively
Yeah.
in a school setting.
Right.
And it seems like they're addressing some of the challenges
Oh,
that the
okay.
Gallup report brought up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, their approach is really nuanced.
How so?
They separate the permitted uses of AI,
Okay.
things like enhancing research or brainstorming,
Okay.
from the prohibited uses, like
Mhm.
things that could compromise student data
Right.
or undermine academic integrity.
Yeah.
It feels like they're trying to find that balance,
I see.
embracing the potential of AI, but also being cautious
Uh-huh.
about its limitations.
Right.
Their focus on professional development for teachers also stood out to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they get that teachers need support
Absolutely.
to use these tools in a way
Right.
that actually promotes creativity and deeper learning.
That's crucial.
Yeah.
It's about empowering those teachers
Right.
to be creative and innovative themselves.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And this kind of brings us back to that question of assessment.
Right.
If we really want to foster creativity,
Yeah.
we need ways to measure it
Mm-hmm.
that go beyond those traditional tests.
Okay.
The Gallup report suggests
Yeah.
that those tests can actually get in the way
Right.
of creative thinking
Interesting.
because they're so focused on
Yeah.
right and wrong answers.
It's like they're rewarding conformity instead
Okay.
of encouraging students to think outside the box.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember feeling that pressure in school.
Oh, yeah.
Like I had to give the expected answer,
Uh-huh.
even if I had other ideas.
Totally.
What are some alternatives?
Well,
The report mentioned portfolio-based assessments.
yeah.
What are those exactly?
So it's a really interesting approach.
Well,
Instead of just having one test score.
a student kind of builds a portfolio
Uh-huh.
that shows their work over time.
Okay.
So this could include, writing samples, multimedia projects,
Okay.
even their own reflections
Interesting.
on how they learned something.
So it's like a bigger picture
Yeah.
of the student's growth.
Exactly. It's more holistic.
Okay.
For instance, a student might include, a science project where they designed an experiment,
Okay.
or maybe a short story they wrote
Mm.
that explores different points of view,
Yeah.
or a presentation
Okay.
where they use data visualization to
Totally.
communicate their research.
That sounds way more interesting than a stack of multiple choice tests.
For sure.
But I imagine it's a lot more work to evaluate.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
How do you even start comparing
Right.
portfolios from different students?
That's one of the challenges for sure.
Yeah.
And it really requires us to rethink how we think about assessment.
Okay.
Instead of looking for the one right answer,
Uh-huh.
you're looking for evidence of critical thinking,
Right.
problem solving,
Yeah.
the ability to use knowledge
Uh-huh.
in creative ways.
Oh, I see.
So it becomes less about ranking students
Yeah.
and more about understanding their individual strengths and where they need to grow.
Do you think this approach would help students take more ownership
Oh, absolutely.
of their learning?
For sure.
If they know it's going in a portfolio,
Right.
they might be more motivated.
Yeah, they're not just trying to please the teacher.
Right.
They're trying to show what they know
Yeah.
and how they think.
Yeah.
It allows for more personalized learning, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, a student who loves filmmaking could make a documentary.
Cool.
Someone who loves coding could design a video game.
Awesome.
Both of them are showing creativity
Right.
in different ways.
So much potential there.
Yeah, tons.
I wonder how widely used these portfolio assessments are.
That's a good question.
Is it catching on or is it still pretty niche?
The Gallup report suggests there's growing interest
Oh, okay.
from teachers and parents.
Interesting.
Most of the parents they surveyed
Mm-hmm.
actually preferred portfolios
Wow.
over traditional test scores
Hmm.
as a way to measure, how well a student understands things.
I see.
And a lot of teachers are finding
Yeah.
that these project-based assignments,
Uh-huh.
which could go in a portfolio,
Right.
are better indicators of learning
Mm-hmm.
than standardized tests.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like people really want assessment methods
do.
that match what we value.
Right.
Not just memorization, but that
Yeah,
ability
exactly.
to think critically and solve problems creatively.
It all comes back to that idea
Yeah.
that our schools need to keep up
Uh-huh.
with how fast the world is changing.
It's a crucial point.
It is.
We're preparing students for jobs
Right.
that might not even exist yet.
Exactly.
So it's less about teaching specific facts and more about cultivating
Yeah.
those adaptable, creative mindsets
Right. Yeah.
that will help them thrive in whatever the future holds.
I love that.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what will classrooms look like in 10 or 20 years?
Oh, that's a great question.
If we really embrace this shift towards creativity and personalized learning,
Uh-huh.
will we even have those traditional rows of desks and lectures anymore?
That is a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to those District 214 AI guidelines.
Okay.
They give us a little glimpse into how schools are already adapting. They're not just, adding AI into lessons.
Right.
They're thinking critically
Yeah.
about the ethical side of it
Uh-huh.
and how to use it responsibly
Yeah.
to enhance human creativity,
Right.
not replace it.
their approach could be a model for other schools
I think so.
as they figure out this new landscape.
Yeah.
We talked about how AI can be a tool
Right.
to encourage creativity,
Yeah.
like using AI-powered design software.
Or having students interact with AI tutors
Right.
that can adapt to their learning style.
It's amazing what's possible now.
Yeah.
But the guidelines really emphasize
Yeah.
the importance of human guidance.
Right.
It's not just about giving students the tech
Right.
and letting them figure it out on their own.
It's about creating a learning environment
Exactly.
where they feel empowered
Yes.
to explore, experiment, and take risks.
It's about fostering curiosity
Yeah.
and a willingness to embrace failure
Right.
as part of that creative process.
I love that.
And it's about making sure that technology helps us be more creative, not less.
That's such a key point.
It is.
Technology can open up incredible possibilities,
It can,
but it's up to us
for sure.
to use it in a way that truly helps learners
Right.
and helps them reach their full creative potential.
Absolutely.
So as we think about all of this,
Yeah.
the need for creativity, the limits of traditional testing, the
Right.
role of technology.
It feels like we're at a turning point
Yeah.
in education.
I agree. We have a real chance
We do.
to rethink how we teach and learn, to move away from that one-size-fits-all model
Yeah.
and create systems that really support individual talents
Right.
and prepare students for a future that needs
Yes.
creativity and adaptability.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It really does feel like things are changing.
It does, yeah.
What advice would you give to someone listening,
Hmm.
whether they're a student, a parent, or an educator,
Right.
who wants to embrace this shift
Yeah.
towards creativity and learning?
I think, first of all,
Yeah.
recognizing that creativity isn't just about art.
Hmm.
It's a way of thinking,
Uh-huh.
a way to solve problems that
Yeah.
you can use in any field.
Okay.
So encourage exploration, experimentation,
Yeah.
asking what if.
Right.
And remember that failure.
Yeah.
It's part of the process.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's through those missteps
Right.
that we often find
Yeah.
the most innovative solutions.
We get so caught up in being right
Right.
that we forget that that's where the real learning happens.
Exactly.
When we make mistakes.
It's about creating a safe space
Yeah.
where students feel like it's okay to take risks,
Right.
try new things, even if they don't get it right the first time.
And we have to model that.
We do as educators and parents.
Yeah.
We need to embrace our own creative journeys,
Right.
be willing to learn alongside our students.
Be the change you want to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember that creativity isn't a solo thing. Collaboration is key.
Okay.
Sharing ideas can spark new insights, lead to breakthroughs.
Right.
So encourage students to work together,
Okay.
bounce ideas off each other,
Yeah.
learn from each other's strengths.
I think that's something we often forget.
Right.
We think of creativity as this
Yeah.
lone genius working alone, but so much innovation comes from
It does.
working together,
Yeah.
building on each other's ideas.
It's about fostering
Yeah.
a culture of shared learning,
Right.
collective creativity.
And recognizing that there are lots of ways to be successful.
There are.
Not everyone's going to excel the same way.
That's
It's about celebrating those different talents.
Absolutely.
And finding ways to help them grow.
Yeah,
It feels like we've covered so much in
Oh,
this
yeah.
deep dive.
for sure.
We talked about the importance of creativity, the problems with traditional tests,
Yeah.
and how technology,
Right.
especially AI,
Uh-huh.
is changing how we learn.
What stood out to you most
Yeah.
as we've gone through these sources?
I think what's really interesting is how these different trends are all coming together.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing this growing understanding
Yeah.
that creativity is important,
Uh-huh.
a shift towards more personalized learning,
Right.
more experiential learning.
Exactly.
And then these powerful new tools
Yeah,
that
right.
can enhance,
Right.
amplify human creativity.
It's a time of big change,
It is.
but also big opportunity.
I agree.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
one last question for you to think about. With technology changing so fast,
Yeah.
how can we make sure that our education systems
Right.
and our assessment methods
Mhm.
evolve to keep up with the skills students actually need?
That is the question.
It's a tough one,
It is.
but one we need to figure out
Absolutely.
if we want to prepare students for the future.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on this journey
Yeah, this was great.
into creativity and learning.
Such an important topic.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.